League attendance plunges to just over 3,000 per game in the late 1970s, so television networks threatened to cut playoff broadcasts. The NBA needs drama and rivalries to survive, which is why showdowns like Celtics vs Lakers, Bulls vs Pistons, and Knicks vs Heat become defining stories that fuel the rise of professional basketball. These rivalries bring not only packed arenas but also entire cultural shifts in how the NBA is seen worldwide. The most famous of them all, Celtics vs Lakers, dates back to the 1960s. Boston wins 11 championships in 13 years, led by Bill Russell, who averages over 22 rebounds per game in the finals. Los Angeles, meanwhile, relies on Jerry West, the only player in NBA history named Finals MVP while losing the series. These teams meet in the finals 7 times during that decade, and Boston wins every single series. The dynamic creates a narrative of East Coast dominance versus Hollywood flair, and fans lock into the drama. Because of this sustained clash, the NBA gains its first great storyline, where one franchise builds success while the other chases them relentlessly. By the 1980s, the rivalry reignites with a new generation. The league's television ratings hover around 6 million viewers in 1979, then nearly double when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson face off. Bird, the Celtics forward who wins 3 straight MVP awards from 1984 to 1986, embodies blue-collar toughness. Magic Johnson, the 6 feet 9 inches point guard of the Lakers, leads the league in assists at 11.2 per game and turns Showtime basketball into an international spectacle. They meet in the finals 3 times, with Los Angeles finally overcoming Boston in 1985. Because of Bird and Magic's contrasting styles and personalities, this rivalry becomes a cultural flashpoint, boosting the NBA into mainstream popularity right before Michael Jordan's era. Speaking of Jordan, he drives one of the most bitter rivalries in NBA history, Bulls vs Pistons. Detroit earns the nickname Bad Boys for averaging over 23 personal fouls per game in the late 1980s, with players like Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn specializing in physical defense. Isaiah Thomas, the Pistons Hall of Fame point guard, wins back-to-back championships in 1989 and 1990 by forcing Jordan's Bulls into punishing half-court battles. Jordan, already a league-leading scorer at 33 points per game in 1990, takes constant body checks and double teams. This rivalry matters because it symbolizes a passing of the torch. The Pistons act as the final obstacle before Jordan transforms the NBA into an international marketing powerhouse. Deliberately, when the Bulls finally win the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals, the Pistons infamously walk off the court without shaking hands. That single act reinforces the image of pure hostility between the teams and highlights just how emotionally charged this rivalry feels. Meanwhile, the 1990s also served viewers another intense battle, Knicks vs Heat. The NBA introduces a best-of-5 opening playoff round in 1984, which makes early matchups more dangerous, and starting in 1997, Knicks and Heat collide in the postseason 4 straight years. What makes it fascinating is the coaching backdrop. Pat Riley, who previously guides the Knicks to the 1994 finals, becomes the Heat's president and coach shortly after. When his old team faces him, every game feels like a movie script. Scoring averages drop to fewer than 90 points per game during their series, because both teams turn basketball into a wrestling contest. In the 1997 playoffs, a brawl results in multiple suspensions. And the rivalry becomes so fierce that some players describe it as personal combat. The animosity isn't about championships but about identity. New York embodies grit and tradition, Miami embodies flash and new ambition, and the repeated collisions make it unforgettable. Rivalries continue to define the modern NBA. Lakers vs Spurs in the 2000s represents the league's internal contrast between market size and system stability. The Spurs, led by Tim Duncan who wins 2 MVPs by 2003, thrive on efficiency and defense, holding opponents to just 90.4 points per game in their 2005 title run. The Lakers, powered by Shaquille O'Neal's 3 Finals MVPs from 2000 to 2002, deliver dominance through size and star power. Their battles throughout the decade decide who controls the Western Conference, and the NBA benefits from consistent national relevance on both ends. Moving into the 2010s, one cannot ignore Warriors vs Cavaliers. 4 straight finals matchups from 2015 to 2018 are unprecedented. Golden State wins 73 games in the 2015 to 2016 season, the best record in NBA history, while averaging a then record 13 made threes per game. LeBron James, playing for Cleveland, responds by leading both teams in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks in the 2016 finals. His comeback from a 3-1 series deficit secures Cleveland's first ever championship. This rivalry matters because it functions as a ratings boon. The 2016 finals draw over 20 million viewers per game in primetime, cementing basketball's place among the most watched sports spectacles in America. What ties all these rivalries together is their timing. Each arrives at a moment when the league needs more than just statistics, it needs emotion. Celtics vs Lakers ensures the league survives the early years. Bulls vs Pistons establishes Jordan's eventual dominance. Knicks vs Heat demonstrates that personality and bad blood can captivate audiences as much as scoring. Spurs vs Lakers highlights structural clashes between dynasties. Warriors vs Cavaliers proves the NBA can produce multi-year stories that command global attention in the social media age. Rivalries don't just define basketball's past. They shape the present and guarantee the future. Every hard foul, every stare down, and every post-game handshake or refusal of one adds to the story. These moments fuse competition with narrative, and together they ensure that the NBA never stops being more than just a game. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.